Yeah, the logo there, the graphics, we're really going up in the world. Wednesday, Louder with Crowder. Steve Crowder, who is one of the greatest human beings on the face of the earth. Apparently, that's what he said in his email to me. Now, Steve, where are you right now in the U.S.?
I am in Dallas, Texas, trying to fight the 108 heat. I got a bone to pick with you. You plug everything under the sun before the commercial break, everything, things that aren't even on your show, but not that I don't get any love. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to have to track you down and hunt you like the dog you are. We love you, dude. There's a specific reason for that about timing, which I'll tell you on another occasion. But now we promote you enormously. We love you. But we don't love you as much as Barack Obama, peace be upon him. Now, we don't know what religion he is. And I said last week, I mean, he's no more a Muslim than he is a Christian. But right. A new poll says that 44% think, well, they're not sure. I mean, 44% think he may be. I can't even read what it says on the prompter, by the way. So I'm just going to say, what does the poll say? No, the poll does say that a huge portion of Americans can't even tell you what religion Barack Obama really is. And I think that's due to a couple of reasons. One, Christians will, of course, assume that he's not a practicing Christian, and so they don't know if he's an agnostic, an atheist, or pagan for maybe the super far-right conservative Christians. And then people who aren't Christians don't really know what to look for. And, you know, our Bible says to look for the fruit on the tree, and nobody's really seeing the fruit from Barack Obama. Now, listen, what I'm about to say here is important. It's not going to convince any atheists. It's not designed to. But Barack Obama, when it's convenient, likes to claim Christianity, likes to claim that he prays. Well, I heard a great analogy from my pastor here this weekend, and really what it is, the Bible refers to a relationship with God as a relationship with the Father. Now, Michael, if I were to come to you and say something like, I don't know, hey, your dad told me to give you this bag of pot, you could say, well, I know my dad. My dad wouldn't say that. It's the same thing with God. I know God. I spend time, I pray, I go to church, I have a relationship with God. He's my father. So when Barack Obama tries to act as though he's a Christian, as a Christian, I can say, well, I know my dad, and I know my dad wouldn't say that. I talk to my dad, and my dad doesn't say, kill babies. My dad doesn't say, two men toss not a ring as a family. So I don't know what crazy foreign pagan deity he's talking to, but it's not the dad I talk with.
Right. Well, I think we have that pretty clear on your relationship with Barack Obama. You're not going to be invited to the White House in the near future, are you, Steve?
I don't think so. I think that spot is reserved for Cal Penn, this generation's low-rent Tommy Chong, for those who don't know, and Scarlett Johansson. That's who he seems to be buddying up to these days. What a pleasure it is. Yeah, and you must have seen that the pictures. A group of gay leaders, not even radicals, but gay leaders, invited to the White House, photographing themselves, giving the finger to portraits of Reagan and Bush. Now, the White House has condemned their actions, but how incredibly vulgar can you get? Well, how incredibly vulgar can you get? You can get slightly more vulgar. To see that at play, one needs look no further than Jeremiah Wright's sermons from the pulpit as he talks about Bill Clinton riding dirty, doing MC Hammer air humps. So Barack Obama has decided to align himself with absolute losers since the beginning of his political run, which started back in college. He's been around people who were horrible then, they sucked back in college, and they suck today. And that's the people he hangs out with. Everyone knew a Barack Obama in college. It was the kid wearing the beanie, token up, talking about the system, man. And everyone who was trying to get through their classes and do their work and study hard just wanted him to shut up. The only problem is, now he's running the country.
Now, Jimmy Carter is a man with a moral code and probably does have a Christian faith. But I've always thought about Carter, it was one of the great disastrous presidencies, actually. Whatever party, Democrat or Republican, I mean, he really did very badly. And to try and explain that to himself and to others, he's blamed everybody else and everything else for his failure for the, 30 years since then?
Right. And you know, there's a saying that, to put it in a summary, Jimmy Carter's not a champion in any sense of the word. There's a sports analogy that says, listen, a champion doesn't look to everyone else when he fails. A champion takes his losses and looks at himself, examines himself to see how he can improve himself. So Jimmy Carter is the complete opposite of a champion. He just said, here's the thing. Before I tell you what Jimmy Carter said, or your audience what Jimmy Carter said, it's important to know that people like Jimmy Carter, people like Barack Obama, even people like Ron Paul, they see the United States as the bad guy. They don't really think that we're that shining city on a hill as Ronald Reagan did. So Jimmy Carter said that we're constantly violating human rights. And Jimmy Carter is also the kind of person who basically refers to the United States as an evil empire. And so does Ron Paul. And then they go in the same breath and say, and our work overseas is getting too expensive. That doesn't make sense to me, because an empire, by its very definition, is profitable. You don't build an empire because it's costly. It's costly, dummies, because we help other nations more than any country in the history of the world ever has, okay? If we wanted to go into countries and take their resources, and I'm sorry, Sun News, but the fact that Canada is still allowed to exist is proof of what an anti-empire the United States was. Do you realize any other empire, if they had this giant land rich in natural resources to the north who had buddied up to us, we'd say, wait a second, by 2 o'clock today, we own Canada. And we don't do that. Just like any other country we go into, we liberate the people, we free them from tyrannical leaders, give them back their country, and ask for nothing more than the land with which to bury the dead who died to give them that right. So I don't want to hear anymore that the United States is an evil empire. I'm tired of it, Michael, if you can tell.
I don't completely agree with you with the last couple of moments of analysis, but the theme of it, I think, is absolutely correct. I get very, very tired of this flaccid, facile, feeble attack on the United States. But Carter, is it, what are they called, the elders? A group of pompous, conceited second-raters who, I mean, you know, Gorbachev, he could start the campaign to liberalize, but he couldn't finish it. Who else is there? Tutu is one of them, isn't he? I mean, someone, again, right. He wasn't the man who brought down apartheid. He had a really good PR machine, but it wasn't him. And Carter's one of them as well?
You know, listen, I think that there's a saying that goes around about Carter, and I didn't coin this, so I can't claim credit. It might be Mark Levin, it might be Michael Medved, but I think it sums everything up in a nutshell. It's the only thing more embarrassing than the Jimmy Carter presidency is the Jimmy Carter post-presidency.
I rather like that. But hey, for a peanut farmer, he didn't do badly.
He didn't do badly for a peanut farmer. And also, you know, here's the one thing. Like you said, unlike Barack Obama, where I believe everything is politically calculated, I will say this about Jimmy Carter. I think he believes it. I think he's crazy enough to believe half the things he says. I think he actually did install solar panels at the White House, if I'm not mistaken, or something along those lines. He was a guy back then who really believed what he said, and you know, he lived it, whereas Barack Obama or people like Al Gore don't at all. I mean, you look at the amount of energy they use to run their mansions and their summer homes, and it's ridiculous. So I will say that about Jimmy Carter. Listen, he's absolutely 100% wrong. I think he's crazy. He's borderline certifiable, but he's genuine in his certifiable insanity.
Yeah, no, I would agree. There's a sincerity about the man. There's probably a decency about the man, but instability and insanity and a complete failure to grasp the reality of world politics any longer. As always, so that was an enormous pleasure. Thank you so very much indeed.